Do the ends justify the means?
Well, Lelouch from Code Geass certainly thinks so. Hello and welcome to another character analysis. I'm your host Merlin, and today we shall be discussing the mastermind Lelouch Lamperouge. This is a request from Zoro Fanboy 124. When we first meet Lelouch, he and his sister are little more than political pawns in a world of the near future. In this world, the Earth is primarily dominated by the Britannian Empire. All areas under their control are deemed sectors under a certain number, in which the former inhabitants of the nation are seen as second-class citizens who are stripped of their respective cultures and belief systems. In Area 11, formerly known as Japan, there is some resistance, but ultimately the Britannians reign supreme. Years before the beginning of the series, Lelouch and his sister were in fact part of the Britannian royal family, being two of the Emperor's children. However, their mother is murdered, under mysterious circumstances, and Lelouch and Nonali, who was crippled during the attack, were banished to Japan, stripped of any real rank, and left only alive to be used as possible political puppets. This naturally left Lelouch feeling bitter towards his father and the other members of the royal family. At the beginning of the series, Lelouch is caught in a battle between Britannian forces and the Japanese rebels. Falling into a government truck, Lelouch stumbles upon a young girl named C2, apparently part of a government experiment, who gives him a mysterious power known as Geass. Though we learn later that there are a variety of different Geasses with different effects, Lelouch gains the ability to bend anyone to his will with mere words. However, this can only be done if he stares directly into the eyes of someone, as well as only being able to be used on the same person once. In addition, the Geass eventually grows in power the more it is used, sometimes with devastating results for the victim as well as the user. Upon discovering these abilities, Lelouch uses his gift as well as his mental prowess to liberate the Japanese from the Britannian oppression, but also learned the reason behind his mother's death and ultimately to create a better world for his younger sister to live in. The series chronicles his formation of the Black Knights as champions of justice, and assuming the alter ego of Zero as their leader. This leads into various mechanized battles and games of wits with the nobility, the military, and even his own friends and allies. This eventually culminates in Lelouch's own death at the end of the series. Using himself as a source of hatred for the entire world, the people of the world are united by his defeat. Lelouch is easily one of the most intelligent and complicated protagonists in an anime series. He's incredibly sly and quick thinking, being nothing short of a genius. He's also a master strategist, and has a knack for understanding the inner workings of the human mind. From the first episode, this is established as he gambles at chess with other nobles due to his confidence. Despite this, Lelouch isn't infallible, as he has a number of close calls throughout the series, as the truth about his identity is nearly revealed multiple times. Despite his arrogance, he does show some great deal of compassion for others. Arguably, this was his primary motivation for many of the horrible acts he commits, whether directly or indirectly. It could indeed be said that Lelouch's faith in others is one of his better traits. In his friendship with Suzaku, he would find aid in saving his sister from the rogue Geass user named Mao. So strong in his faith in Suzaku was that he initially desires to have him watch over his sister Nonali as events progress. This is somewhat ironic as Suzaku is a pilot of the Lancelot mecha for the Britannian Empire, despite his Japanese heritage, becoming the lead fighter against the Black Knights. Interestingly, Suzaku desires peace as well, though through different methods. Suzaku hopes to bring about peace without losing lives, though this is due from a tragic element from his past as well. Lelouch slowly becomes consumed by the Geass and seems to slip deeper into something resembling madness, and the grandiosity of his own plans threaten to overwhelm him. Lelouch sees people as little more than pawns in his plans and often feels casualties are necessary in order to bring about change. In particular, one example is in regard to his half-sister Euphemia. Yuffie is a member of the royal family and the sub-viceroy of Area 11, though she wishes to bring about equality and peace within the land. Unlike most of her siblings, her idealism causes her to form a zone outside of Japan where Japanese can be treated as first-class citizens and express their heritage. Despite the good intentions, Lelouch sees this as an obstruction to his plan that could possibly quell the rebellion, and implements a plan which causes the death of thousands and ultimately the demise of Yuffie. Though Lelouch loved and admired his half-sister for her strength of character, he eliminated her as he believed that her ruin was necessary for the good of the nation. Though he does feel that this aspiration is something akin to godhood, Lelouch never completely loses his humanity as he demonstrates some acts of kindness, involving sacrificing his love with a girl named Shirley, wiping her memory clean of a number of terrible events for her own sake. He did this despite her demonstrating loyalty to him, even with knowledge of his secret identity. This act may have been partially out of self-preservation on his part, but was also an act of kindness due to the loss of her father and various conflicting emotions at the time. This would later affect his relationship with Colin, a young rebel fighter whom he valued greatly. Though they would later become closer as the series progressed, Lelouch never let their relationship fully develop, due to his previous losses with Shirley and C2 to some extent. Perhaps the best example of Lelouch's less selfish qualities is in his love for his crippled sister Nonali. His initial reasoning for exacting revenge on the Britannians as well as creating a better world was indeed for his younger sister. Her gentleness and resolve despite her illness perhaps inspired Lelouch to see the best aspects of humanity within all the darkness. Lelouch often seems cold and calculating in his plans, showing little to no remorse in battle and often reveling in the destruction of the members of the Britannian royal family. His ego also inflates and he eventually seeks world domination. However, this is only a facade, at least partially. Lelouch does several times express remorse for the actions he's committed, particularly when innocent civilians become involved, implying that Lelouch does have a sense of honor and does not delight in what he considers to be pointless deaths. The most revealing moment of this is perhaps in his own demise. Even as Lelouch sacrifices himself, it was all part of his ultimate plan. In order to create a better world, he believed that the old one had to be destroyed first, and that people would most often unite when they have a common enemy. Despite the temptation to grasp onto power, Lelouch became that enemy, and in his death created a better world not only for his sister, but for all people. Though the morality of his actions is certainly questionable, one must not forget his intentions, as well as his internal conflict and the ultimate result of his plan. Could such a world have been attained without bloodshed, subjugation, and betrayal? Perhaps, but Lelouch Lamperouge certainly did not believe so. Perhaps the ends do indeed justify the means. Well, those were my thoughts on Lelouch. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. This is Merlin signing off. Until next time, guys.